Hello world, I'm Chris Pirillo, and you're watching another live edition of the LockerGnome Daily Report, or TLDR for short. Your daily dose of geek news, reviews, and answers that you can use. Like an answer to the question, why did I suddenly just start beaming? Because I could tell that as I started talking, my daughter Jedi turned around and started to pay attention to me, and she looked at me and went, like that. Melts your heart. Maybe you're looking for an answer to the question, Chris, are you going to do an AMA today? That answer is yes. Chris, are you going to answer a question, what is the geekiest magazine I could possibly get? I just answered that question in a separate video. Chris, you may still be asking, when are you going to do a show and tell video? I'm doing a new one every weekday in the Classic YouTube channel. So now we are doing 2 videos every weekday in the Classic YouTube channel, a CPU and a show and tell. The show and tell video series is brand new. Now all my patrons, aka the super nomies who are watching me do this live, they get a sneak peek of everything. I've already uploaded 10 separate videos. We've only released 1 to the public, and I plan on recording at least 1, 2, maybe even 3 more today. Possibly even 4 more today. Everyone will get to watch them, but, since I'm very, very grateful that my patrons, give me a little more than the average person might be able to give, I like to give more in return. I give a lot to everybody, though, including time, attention, and answers to the questions. I do have to continue from the patron thread, and then we'll jump over to the open Facebook AMA thread from last week. Kind of ran out of time. I guess I talked too much. I talked too much about a particular topic. Hashtag shocked. This is Chris Pirillo. We'll begin with Michael Hawkinson. He asks, hey Chris, you have me hooked on Lego minifigures. What would be your top 5 must-have minifigures? It's very difficult to answer this question. What I believe is that you should get the minifigures that you're attracted to. Did you hear that? I've got some poly bags on the desk. Lego produces a series of different minifigures. This is Plastic Man in a bag of plastic. This here's a city worker. This here is Bizarro Batman, or Bat-Zarro, right there. This is Cthulhu. Okay, it's not officially Cthulhu, but it would be a creature that I imagine if Lego produced a Cthulhu creature, it would look like this. So Lego makes a lot, or the Lego group makes a lot of minifigures. My suggestion is, think about what you enjoy, what you like, what you're interested in. Start there. That's where you go. Because for me to say, oh, everyone needs to collect the Plastic Man minifigure. What if you don't care about Plastic Man? Why would you care about this? You wouldn't. This would be a horrible choice if you didn't like Plastic Man for a first minifigure at all. This would be a horrible choice if you didn't care about city stuff. Now me, I'm not too picky. Like if it's a Lego minifigure, yeah, I'm in. Absolutely. I even have the Quick Bunny. They had a Quick Bunny minifigure years ago. They had a Steven Spielberg minifigure. Cool. I have that one. I have the George Lucas minifigure. Whoa. I know. Pretty big deal. That's what I thought. I have the C-3PO minifigure, not the gold one, but only 10,000 of these special editions were released, and I opened it.
I gave you one.
Yeah, you gave me that one, and then I opened it and ruined its value out front. So, collect because you like it, not because, I say that the top 5 must-have. I say the must-haves are the ones that you love. Stuart Hayden asked, and this came in courtesy of Liz, why do you think Apple has not updated its accessory hardware for a while, such as Apple TV, Airport Express, etc.? What would you like to see changed, if anything? Well, I would prefer they be updated on a more regular basis, if only because I know that, Apple's got, new things around every corner, but that's the thing. If they just updated the Apple TV and really didn't have anything new to roll out, what's the point of upgrading? Maybe they'll have a 4K Apple TV at some point in time. Maybe. But I don't think they'd need to rush to market just to have a 4K device. I think 1080p is sufficient for most people in terms of how they're taking in content, certainly digitally. So I don't think they've updated a lot of their accessories like the Apple TV or Airport Express because they haven't needed to. At some point, there will be a new wireless standard coming down the pike, and Apple will support it. Now, if they need to update their hardware to do that, they will. That's when they'd update it, when it needs to be updated. But, just getting new hardware for the sake of getting new hardware is kind of pointless. I would say that, iPhones and even iPads to a certain degree are kind of in a class all their own, because the components that go within an iPhone or an iPad, are constantly being upgraded, constantly being leapfrogged. But in terms of an Apple TV, are people going to upgrade because it's a faster Apple TV? I doubt it. Would people upgrade if the antenna technology has not necessarily improved over previous Airport Extremes or Expresses? I doubt it. So you have to think of that. Just because they can update a device, to release out to the world, doesn't mean they should. And so I believe Apple's making the right moves. I want an updated Apple TV as much as the next Apple TV lover, as much as I would want an updated device that may have had technology that would have advanced beyond the last version of a piece of hardware that had been released. But practically, just it doesn't add up. And so we'll see. That's my perspective, and I'd be surprised if you thought differently about it once everybody out there had thought about the question. Joe Tashi asks, "Hey Chris, what do you look forward to seeing Jedi experience?" It's been a while since I've answered this question, and I think to me is number one is finding her fandom, her first fandom, which may very well be the fandom that she loves for the rest of her life. Who knows? I don't know, and I'll do everything I can to encourage that. My first Lego set I got as a kid. Didn't really collect them or play with them or use them or have them at all, mostly as an adult, until another friend of mine brought a set over from Ireland, and that got me going again. So it was a random gift both times that really drew me back into that fascination, that fandom. I was a fan of the Star Wars figure because of the first Star Wars figure I ever received. This is not the first one. Received. I bought it for like 99 cents. Hang on. Aaron Black, I believe, is the person I need to give credit to for this. Aaron, I'm looking for the sheet, but I'm pretty sure Aaron Black sent this to me. It was on my wish list. I've got a series of the AT-AT driver figures, and I wanted to remove most of them from the package, if only for a video that I want to do as a show and tell. This one was sent to me. Thank you, Aaron, for this. So I was drawn to the world of figures and really appreciated all kinds of figures because of the original AT-AT driver, which I still have sitting across the office from me. I loved comics when I was a kid, but am currently now kind of, how would I say? I want to say regenerating, but I am not Doctor Who. I'm not a Time Lord at all, but I'm kind of rebooting? No. Re-exploring my fascination with comics. Talked about them in the vlogs, but recently just picked up the Guardians of the Galaxy 001, the Marvel series. I don't know if the cartoon that's going to be released on Disney XD is following the same plot, but I assume this is certainly as much a part of canon as anything else. So I've got various fandoms and various interests, and I just want to see Jedi find one of her first fandoms and potentially follow that throughout adulthood. That'd be fascinating for me. That's the thing I can't wait for. That's the one thing. Her first, and hopefully not last, and hopefully lifelong fandom. Barry asks, "Are you looking forward to the day your daughter answers the phone with 'This is Jedi'?" I think, Barry, I covered that question last week, and if I didn't, it'll be funny if they even have phones when Jedi's old enough to answer the phone. On the open Facebook thread, which everybody can participate in, Amit Kandave asks, "Who are you?" And he wrote R, the letter R, and then U, the letter U, and then a space question mark. Well, I'm someone who knows that you don't do that unless you're 7. You don't, right? The word R in this case is not the letter R. It's spelled A-R-E. You never, ever write words using numbers unless you're 7 or your name is Prince. And you also never write R like that. I am someone who knows the difference. Fran Patterson asks, "How has fatherhood changed you?" Well, physically, hasn't changed me, other than I think I've got a sore muscle here because of all the rocking and walking and carrying that I've been doing. I think for me, I've always been, responsible to the last, but I'm just, even more careful about certain things. Would have been a little more cavalier about decisions that I made in the past, but becoming a father has just made me realize just A, how lucky I am, and B, how precious life is. Really, I can see things now when I watch like a piece of entertainment, or watch a show where a parent has a bond with a child, and you watch something play out, a scene. Up until the point where we had Jedi, I don't know if I quite understood that, but now I do. Now I understand when I see a parent and child relationship in such a way that I couldn't have understood it before. I had no context. So that, I think, has been a pretty dramatic change. Justin R. Miller asks, what programming language is a good first start? In a sense, what should I learn first? Any thoughts? Well, Justin, I'd take an open course if you want. We do have courses that are available on sale at deals.lockergnome.com if you want. While you're there, we have some giveaways and other discounts. I'll be sure to put some links for you in the video's description. I started with basic programming. I spoke to this the other day with the Mad Libs that Liz had sent. One of the first basic programs that I wrote was a Mad Libs generator. It was a lot of fun. Easy. Relatively simple for me to do. I understood it. So, the best programming language to start with is the one that, A, captures your imagination, or B, might lead you to doing things that you want to do. Because every programming language has got its strengths and weaknesses. Maybe you wanted to go into web development. Well, then I would suggest going and learning PHP, because it's a good foundation for a lot of web developers out there. If you wanted to do app development, I might suggest starting with Swift, Apple's new language. I mean, specifically if you're looking for app development inside of OS X or iOS. So it really depends on what it is that you want to do. There's no catch-all language. I'm not a programmer at all. And, I'd be surprised if Jerry would say anything differently than I would. I mean, he's got his CodeGasm series in his channel. And I know we are long overdue for a geek out. Maybe we'll do a virtual one this weekend. He was busy doing a LAN party, so I couldn't do it this weekend. And I've been busy too. We've both been kind of busy. Dan Lax asks, are you excited for Game of Thrones Season 5? I know I am. Dan, I am. In fact, if you weren't paying attention to my social feeds over the weekend, I'm so happy to say that I've now officially tried the Game of Thrones Stout, courtesy of Jack Johnson, who I'm very grateful to say is one of our patrons. He had sent me 2 of the Game of Thrones Take the Black Stout. That is one of the videos that I've done for the Show and Tell series. Here's a picture of the stout. Well, it's not really a show and... Well, I guess this isn't really show and tell, and I realize that the picture's really bright there. There's the Take the Black Stout. You look at the social feed. You can see it in a much better condition than what I just showed you there. Yes, I'm looking forward to it. Absolutely. Game of Thrones is something that you should binge on. Get caught up. I love the series. There's very few things that I don't like about it. In fact, I would look forward to a day that Jedi would want to watch it, because I'd probably rewatch it and enjoy it just as much the second time around. Even knowing what would play out, I very much look forward to seeing everything that they produce within that series of fandom. I enjoyed the stout. That'll be a separate video. I opened one, of course, and then we'll be keeping the second one in the bottle. Here's a spoiler alert for those who are paying attention. I enjoyed it, but I don't know if I'd say it was worth a repeat. It was good to try, but I'm very, very grateful to have 2, because I'm absolutely willing and able to keep the second one in the bottle. It's a Game of Thrones stout to collect. Colin Teenies, I'm not sure how you say your last name, sorry. How do you deal with critics and not get affected by it? Well, I do. I am impacted by critics. The way I look at it, I have trolls left and right. Some of those people are just professional trolls. But it's like I responded to one guy the other day, because he just, no matter what I do, I was wrong. No matter what I say, I'm wrong. I mean, according to this person. But I responded to him, and I've yet to hear a follow-up from him. I'm like, what can I do to help you? How can I help you? I asked him flat out, what can I do? What can I reasonably do to help you? He hasn't said anything, because you know what? I don't think he's got an answer. I don't think anybody's ever responded to him like that before. Some people you just can't help. And I responded to this in the TLDR that we did on Friday as well. As much as I enjoy putting a lot of my life out there, some people just feel like it's their place to judge. The topic of grow up. I swear to God, you know what? Honestly, more than anything, I'm figuring out how to retool my business to fit where I am these days, and that is like tied into so many different aspects of geek and nerd culture. I love it. I love it. If I could open up a Star Wars store, I would, an exchange of bricks, I absolutely would. There are people out there who say that collecting toys as an adult is childish. There are those who say that, it's just for ages 5 to 12. There are those who say that you should stop reading things that are fun. There are those who say that you should just eat candy bars that aren't involving any kind of meat. There are those who say that a million things over, a million times over, a million things through, there are always going to be critics. And, I don't get offended when someone says, oh, just let it roll off you, like a water off a duck's back. What they don't realize is even if they just see one person attacking you, they have no idea how many other people may have attacked you that same day. It's like they'll see, oh, well, you should just grow up. Take it like a man. What does that mean? What does that mean? Take it like a man. What is... I don't have feelings anymore. Oh, got it. I'm sorry, who made up that rule? Not me. Oh, I'm no longer human. Is that what you mean? What? I'm not human. I don't have feelings. I can't have fun. I can't live my own life. What? I don't understand that. Grow up and be a man. Be a real man. You know what being a real man is? It's being yourself. Anything less than yourself, you're not real. By definition, you're not real. So some people have issues with other people when they're real and they themselves, the people projecting onto the people who are real, aren't real. And they don't know who they are. So being a real person, I think, takes a level of understanding of self, an acceptance of self, and also an acceptance of others, such that you're not going to project your own problems onto other people. That is being a real man or a real woman, as far as I'm concerned. That is being a real adult. Being real, that's where it starts. Everything else is different. Just completely different. You're never going to be the same person as somebody else. Ever, 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 ever. There's one thing that I've learned on this planet in all the years that I've been here, is that there's no such thing as normal. No such thing. So, it's difficult sometimes to accommodate critics when you realize that they have a very myopic view of what life is and what life should be. It's easier to deal with because, like, oh, you're small-minded. I kind of feel sorry for you, and I feel sorry for the people around you, but I don't need you and your shortcomings projected onto me. I've got my own shortcomings to deal with. Thank you very much. It's not always easy to do. Not always easy. So, up until the day I die, I will be collecting figurines. Will likely be reading comic books, including my Marvel subscription for Darth Vader finally spun up with 001. Although I thought I subscribed to the new Star Wars series, and I've not yet received that as well. I'm going to be picking up the Princess Leia series for Jedi to read eventually if she's interested. Oops, sorry, brushed the mic there. Next question. I seriously, that was a good question to dive into, especially because some people just see fit to judge others, and it has nothing to do with one topic or another. It's cross discipline. I mean, even within the Star Wars community, there are people who cast judgment upon others. See, if you thought it was just tech, what? You use that device that I don't use and I don't like? Well, that makes you stupid. What? There are people out there who actually think that. Like, you wonder how they have two brain cells to rub together. All together. Oh, judgment's a bad thing. It would be a shame, Liz says, to see that Vader shirt disappear. Fine. I'll take it off. Liz asked for it, just so you know. Blame Liz. That's at PezLiz on Twitter. Go ahead and tweet her right now and say, thanks a lot, PezLiz. Got it at PezLiz. Okay, now I sit here and wait for the comment to come back to SMS. Let's see if I made her blind. I love this shirt. It came courtesy of shop.lockergnome.com. It's super, super, super soft. And, okay, I'm going to keep it off until I hear back from her. She's probably fumbling for her phone right now, or there must be one hell of a delay. See, that's what you get. You make a smart aleck comment to Chris Pirillo and expect a smart aleck response. Now, when you see this flash go off, that means I've received another text message. Unless Liz isn't going to text back, at which point I'm just going to roll on to the next question. Andrew Cassabaum asks, have you ever felt like you've burned out from all the different channels and business ventures? If so, how do you keep yourself motivated to push through? Well, yeah, I guess to a certain degree. I've been doing what I've been doing for about 15 years. I mean, it's been a while since I've started doing what it is that I do. So I always look for different ways of keeping things fresh, mixing it up a bit, having fun, doing things the way that I think they need to be done, and zigzagging and trying to work my way through shortcomings and pitfalls that exist in the industry that I cannot control. So this is part of, the experience of putting videos out there. I mean, it'd be like launching a new blog back in the day. It would have been easier to do that, but nowadays, social makes it easier to connect with other people in such a way that you wouldn't have been able to connect with them back in the beginning. I don't just want to talk about one thing. I'm fascinated in a lot of different things. It's one of the reasons why the reboot of the classic channel, as much as this is Geek Lifestyles and you're asking me questions, and this isn't really a geeky question to answer, but it is the AMA. It's a part of the TLDR series that I'm doing on an ongoing basis. The classic channel it's Chris Pirillo, and it allows me to be fresh. So at some point in the future, when I'm no longer interested in meat products and fun chocolates to try, then I don't have to do it anymore. And I'm not locked into that particular genre. I'm still myself. I have the freedom to be myself. There's Liz. Oh, she just texted back with a... now they're all coming. They all came in at the right. They all came in at the same time. Apparently there was a delay. Oh, sorry about that, Liz. Well, let me go ahead and show you my underarms, in case you're wondering what those look like. There are some people out there. Don't ask me who they are. I am not them. Because of you, Jackson Domino says, I have started doing Legos and I have enjoyed them immensely. Do you have any suggestions for cool Lego sets to set up? Jackson, I'm actually going to refer you to the earlier question that I answered because it kind of falls within the same scope. Alina Emas asks, what is your shoe size? Big, small, medium, average? No, there is no average. I don't know. It changes. Sometimes it's larger and sometimes it's smaller. Jessica Lamb asks, planning for nugget number 2? No, there is no plans at this moment. Anthrit Onyovrato. I still don't know how to say your last name, Anthrit. How's the new camera doing? Would you recommend it? I really, really like it a lot. This is the camera I use for the vlog, and I assume that's what you're referring to. This is a modification based on the Sony DSC WX220. What I like most about... Yes, so it works well. It's very, very fast. Here's boot up time, and I'm ready to record. Now I'm ready, just like that. It's very, very fast boot up time. I love the fact that I can record 1080p, 60 frames per second for the vlogs now. Love that. But the only challenge is you have to have a lot of light. Otherwise, even though there's a feature to automatically adjust the frame rate, I'd much rather have a grainier picture, especially in lower light, and adjust it in post than 30 frames per second outright. So you can let in more light, you have better exposure with fewer frames per second. But with 60 frames per second, it's very, very light sensitive. That's the only negative from it. But I've done my best to kind of accommodate it and work around it. And I guess I haven't seen too many complaints. I really like having 60 frames per second in the vlog though. I really genuinely do. It's just too bad that everything I have is really low light. So I may need to get, there's no hot shoe on it, but I may need to get some kind of light to carry around with me, or just use the strobe here on the, oops, wrong button. I just use this as I'm walking around and vlogging. Hello, hi, whoa, actually, it's not a bad idea. They make, where is it? These, it's been a long time. In fact, I don't know if the battery's drained on here. Yeah, it is. LED bank that you can put in your, adapter, or your port for your headphones, for your smartphone or tablet. But I don't really have a port on this. What I have is a mount, a tripod mount, so, and then an HDMI port. So what would be kind of neat is if I had a modification that attached to the mount and then had a flash down here somehow. So if I was low light, I could toggle the flash somehow, or like a floodlight. Not a flash, a floodlight. So yeah, I'd recommend it. Well, look at the vlogs and the CPU episodes. I'm sorry, not CPU. the show and tell episodes. Like I said, I've done 10 of them. The first one went live today. The having fun with the bacon wrapped pizza crust from Little Caesars. I don't want to ruin it. Watch the video. That's the one that's public today. Omar Castellanos asks, have you lived the Star Wars ride at Disneyland? Maybe rode the Star Wars ride at Disneyland? It's so awesome. You're talking about Star Tours, and I did, and I think it was, or did I? I want to say I did. I did. It's been so long. Oh my God. It's been so long, I couldn't even tell you if I did. Well, I tell you what. What's going to happen is when Disney releases the Star Wars theme park, dude. So for anybody who sits there and says, Chris, your fascination with Star Wars, come on, whatever. Well, Disney is building a full-on theme park for Star Wars. It's not just going to be a part. I'm going to be talking about this tomorrow in the news as well. It's not just going to be a part of a park. It's going to be a Star Wars theme park. Gee, I wonder how big it could be. I wonder how big is this Star Wars thing? Is it a big deal? Do people care? Apparently they do. William L. Shook asks, will you be celebrating Pi Day? Most certainly, I'd imagine. That would be March 14th. 314, 3.14. Joshua Balaj asks, how many Marvel Star Wars Comics #1 covers are they going to make? Well, according to my calculations, and he has a screenshot. This is in the open Facebook thread that I'm reading from. He's got 2 Star Wars covers. The one that was out in comic stores. That's an exclusive. I think that's the Hasbro one of the variant, and then a Darth Vader. This is the one that I just held up a few minutes ago. This is the one that comes out to subscribers. I want to say they had like close to 80, at least 70 variant covers for Star Wars. At current count, I believe they have 17 that I know of. 17 Darth Vader 001 variant covers. I don't have all of them. I posted to my Instagram feed over the weekend. And I thought I had, 11 of them. I got them all. And then someone said, oh, wait, you don't have this one. Oh, wait, you don't have this one. I'm like, there's more. I hate being a collector sometimes. But I'm a Darth Vader collector. I'm a completist. So that's what I'm going to do. Sorry, I was checking to make sure that something that I hung up one of the comics, one of my favorite variant covers for Darth Vader is the one that looks a lot like the classic Lego. The classic Kenner figure, and I hung it up on the in the Mylar wrapping on the cabinet over there, and it's still there. Mark Anthony asks, Premiere Pro or Final Cut Pro 10? I am going to say, because I've never used Premiere Pro, you got to understand that. I like Final Cut Pro 10. It's easy, it's fast. It does crash at times, but nowhere near the amount of crashes that I see on a regular basis from people like John Prosser, from Front Page Tech, or Barnacles. They're always complaining about Premiere crashing. I'm like, well, then I'm glad I'm not using Premiere right now. I hope Apple continues to develop Final Cut Pro, and I think they need to have at least one Pro product. They got rid of the other one, Logic. No, not Logic Pro. What was the Aperture? They got away from Aperture for photos. And I think that was the right move to make. I don't think they're going to abandon Final Cut Pro 10, though, because look at this. How else are they going to sell these monster machines, like Mac Pros, which sell, hand over fist, or iMacs? You got to have Pro products. Well, Adobe's got enough Pro products, but I think Apple would need to have some stuff in there as well. Or maybe I'm just hoping that I don't have to rely on Premiere Pro, because I've seen how many times it crashes from other people. I don't use it. Final Cut Pro makes me happy. I like software that brings me happiness. And I moved up from iMovie, because iMovie was very, very simple. And I would say Final Cut Pro 10 was a great upgrade. Robert Johnland asks, what's the best kit loadout for my Grey Knight Paladins? I don't know what that is. I know what a Paladin is, but I don't know what it is. Matthew Huang asks, have you ever tried mechanical keyboards? It's been a few years, a long time ago, in a galaxy very, very close. We talked about this. What was the other week? Talking about those old IBM keyboards, like clack, 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 bang, 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 bang. I like those keyboards. I don't know if I could use them so much anymore. I've never had a better typing speed than I've had on the Apple wireless keyboards. So that's me. That's my experience. Jean-Paul Caballero asks, what makes Chris Pirillo crispy? Well, I'm not crunchy. I'm not creamy. I don't know. My last name? My last name makes me crispy? Possibly. Got a few other questions. Some of them may end up being in the queue or going into the queue for the dedicated Q&A and with you and me videos that we do on a regular basis. Keep asking questions. I'm doing my best to respond to all of them, whether I do it on Twitter, Facebook, in these videos, in the dedicated videos, in the vlogs. All I can ask is, the support that you give. As long as you keep giving it in the way that you're giving it, I appreciate it. I do love you. I do. So someone out there loves you. Just know this, okay? But at this point, I'm going to leave you to your own devices as I roll into the Patron Hangout, which I do every weekday. And now, I'm going to do something that's very, very geeky that a lot of people still can't figure out. Why, at the end of every video, is my question to you, do I give a 3-finger salute? That's a clue. What does that mean?